being a chapter but has only recently escaped from many millennia of near total isolation, the Avatars Resplendent differ greatly from the Space Marines that first set out to protect the Gothic Sector after their founding. It would take too long to mention every deviation from standard astartes practices here, so instead I shall highlight some of the more prominent ones that have been noticed since their return to the wider galaxy. The first and most glaring difference between the Avatars Resplendent and other chapters is that they no longer possess or follow the Codex Astartes. In its place is the Cooldex Astartes, spelled with a K, a text whose contents are near unrecognisable thanks to countless centuries of alterations. Not only is it replete with battle strategies not seen in the Codex, it is also full of important life lessons on how to be a cool dude and being excellent to everyone. One of the most unusual sections, however, is a number of incredibly delicious recipes that take up the final chapter of the tome. Not only are they nutritious, they're also healthy and easy to make, even on the battlefield. The second and equally apparent difference is a complete lack of Primaris Space Marines among their ranks. This is neither due to mistrust nor an inability to produce them. The decision to stick with Firstborn Marines was instead a pragmatic one. Were the warp storms that once trapped the Avatars Resplendent to return, all the resources used to give their chapter the capability to produce Primaris Marines could no longer be used to aid the Imperium Nihilis, which so desperately needs them. Instead, the Marines Xtreme were created, a successor chapter using the Avatars Resplendent gene seed that are being mentored by their parent chapter to defend the region should the unthinkable happen. Another significant deviation is the chapter's complete lack of chaplains. Their disappearance was a gradual one, and due to the warp storms that cut off their region of space. Constant yet minuscule exposure to the energies of the warp made all those on the worlds ensnared more resistant to its effects. It also meant an increase in the number of Psykers, most of whom were recruited either into the Planetary Guard or the Avatars Resplendent. Over time, the duties of the Librarian expanded, along with their numbers, subsuming those of the chaplains until the only one left was interred in a dreadnought. Now called the Batlin after the first Chief Librarian of the chapter, the black-clad warriors use their awesome psychic powers both against their foes and to guide their chapter to victory and awesomeness. The Vaydarian, on the other hand, is a title unique to the chapter. Not only are they a master duelist, they serve as a diplomat when the battlefield is fought around the negotiating table. Even more personable than the average Marine of the chapter, they can end a conflict before it's even begun, saving innumerable lives and unneeded destruction. It was the current Vaydarian that negotiated the truce between the Avatars Resplendent and Krafeld Yusef, so they could stand together against the Necrons known as the Legion of Rust, an agreement that is held to this day. Finally, the Avatars Resplendent greatly value the lives of those they protect, and their own humanity. The Marines are given far more free time than other chapters in their daily routine, and are encouraged to use it. Some pursue creative hobbies, others volunteer in the local community. You can always find a couple relaxing by the pool in the Fortress Monastery, or on the many pristine beaches of their world. Marines are allowed to keep in contact with their families and form enduring friendships with those they battle alongside with. And then there's the chapter's discotheque, the Audacious Ankh, whose dance floor is packed each night, with Marines grooving on down to the latest tunes, composed by the in-house DJ. Originally, when I started creating the Avatars Resplendent, they were never intended to be a battlefield force. A small contingent of Horus Heresy-era Marines, striking neon, and looking bodaciously awesome. They were just meant to look nice. But eventually, the army grew in size, and I got interested in the potential of using them, especially with 10th edition and its free online rules. In time, I found a friendly local game store nearby, and I went one weekend to see if I could find a game, only to realise that I needed to have found a group and booked a table, and I hadn't done any of that, and I left. I felt quite embarrassed and rather upset that I'd rushed into things in such a haphazard and silly manner, but that passed, and I found a group of people that I could play with. My first initial games was me effectively learning the ropes of not just 10th edition, but Warhammer 40,000 as it was in the modern day. And they didn't go very well. Part of it was that I only had 1,000 points, and it was a bit of a ragtag group of models that were mostly assembled because they looked cool, and I still think they look cool, but it was still an experience that I went away from positively. I've played a fair few times with them since that time, and I get about, on an average month, 2 sessions of 40k in, alternate Sundays. Recently, with the house move and everything involving that, I have unfortunately been able to play less. There were a good few months before that I just couldn't, and about a month after the move where I couldn't, but I've managed to get a few gaming sessions in with the Avatars Resplendent, and a dash of Marines Xtreme slotted in as well. To say that my armies are not strong is an understatement. I definitely am someone that builds for fluff and flavour rather than power. Part of it is the firstborn, and other parts of it are because I really don't want to go about chasing the meta. The meta is an expensive thing to pursue, and power is fleeting, but cool is forever. And I'm always happy, regardless of how well I'm doing, when people come over and say that they like the painting of the models and how it all looks. I don't mind losing, because I lose a lot. I'm not especially pleased when that loss is so utterly and absolutely crushing that I can't do anything in the battle. Being steamrolled isn't fun. I don't like putting all of the models on the table only to take them all off without doing anything, but sometimes that happens, and the first time it happened in 10th edition, it was not a fun experience at all, but I've gotten a little better at dealing with it. The group that I'm with have quite a lot of very competitive people. There are people in there that play in tournaments and do quite well, and they are fantastic players and really great people. They are friendly and laid back and very, very knowledgeable about the game. I have learnt a fair bit about how to better play, and I have gotten a little better in the matches that I bring the Avatars Resplendent to. I don't win very often. I think I've only won twice and drawn once, but I have had some pretty close games with some people who are much higher skill than me. I imagine part of that was terrible luck on their part and great luck on mine, but still, they were enjoyable games. And I hope to be able to keep playing the Avatars Resplendent with them for as long as possible. They do sometimes ask if I'm going to participate in tournaments, but that's really not my scene. For a number of reasons, it's not my scene. First off, I wouldn't be able to use Legends units there, and I do like my Legends units. Secondly, it's just an angle of 40k that I don't want to get involved in, the competitiveness and the competition. I'm not a very competitive person. I was when I was younger, but now? Nah, not really. I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun when playing, and that's not fun for me. It's fun for other people, it's fun for them, but it's not for me. The third thing is that it's a huge time and cost investment that I just can't afford. My job being what it is means I can't do that, and that is what it is. They're understanding of it. Perhaps a little sad that I don't bring my Marines along, and there is a part of me that is also a little sad about that people at tournaments don't get to see the Avatars Resplendent, but it is what it is, and I make the best of everything. Will I one day have the Avatars Resplendent be an army that can crush opponents left, right, and centre and win? Probably not. But will they always be an army that I'm proud of? Oh yes, absolutely. Even as I go back to models I painted a long time ago and see bits of my paint job that I didn't do a great job with that I need to touch up, like bits where paint didn't reach at all in far crevices. Still really proud of them. Really, really, really happy that I got back into 40k. My bank balance isn't that happy that I got back into 40k, but I have a big backlog of models now to deal with, and a couple of Mark II Space Marines on the way as like a final opportunity purchase to finish off some Mark II squads. By the way, if anyone has any Mark II Crusade Horus Heresy Space Marines, I'm always interested in them. They are fantastic, and they've not been in production for years and years. I never say no to them, provided of course I can afford them. That is something that has gotten more difficult with the move. That's why I'm quite glad I have a huge backlog of models that I can get on with painting. And the occasional new project I pick up, because I don't say no to Mark II Marines. So yeah, that's me and my experiences so far with 10th edition. I rarely win, but I often have fun. Except when I'm absolutely getting stomped into the ground from the very beginning of the game. Like, if I go into a game and I literally have no chance and I can't do anything, it's not enjoyable for me. But fortunately that's only happened twice. The first time it was incredibly bad, the second one it wasn't so bad. I doubt it'll happen very often. And that's about it. I've rambled about the Avatars Resplendent, talked about their deviations from the standard Codex Astartes. And next time I'll talk about the technology of the chapter. And if there's any questions you have about the Avatars Resplendent, or me in 40k, by all means, ask them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to not only comment, but like and subscribe. And if you are subscribed, press that bell for those notifications. And I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later. And as one of the banners for the Avatars Resplendent says, be cool, be kind.